Alright, hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. Today, I'm doing a video that I'm pretty excited about, honestly. I feel like for the most part, I keep it pretty positive on my channel. I don't love talking about like books that I don't like, obviously. But like anybody else, I do love to talk some smack. I love to talk some trash every now and then. So I did a video earlier this year where I was talking about, series that I want to continue. So I thought today I could kind of do like the opposite to that video, where I'm going to be talking about series that I'm going to be DNFing. These are all pretty popular series, I think, so I don't feel too bad saying that like I'm not gonna finish these because like their readership, they're doing fine without me. It'll be okay. So I thought I would go through I think I have like 9 maybe on my list that I'm not going to be continuing, and I just want to talk about them today. I thought this could also be kind of informative for you. I feel like I do get questions from time to time of people being like, oh, are you ever gonna like continue insert series here? So now you'll know that like any book on this list, most likely never going to continue. I do, however, never like to speak in absolutes. If you would like to make a case for these series in the comments, please do so. I would love to be convinced to maybe try one of these out again and maybe love it, but like for the most part, probably not gonna continue these series. Also, a disclaimer before we get into it, just because I am DNFing these series and I don't like them does not mean that they are bad book series. I am not the end all be all. I mean, I don't think anybody thought that, but like, in the grand scheme of things, my opinion does not matter in the slightest. I'm just sharing with you guys series that I'm not personally gonna be continuing with. If you love these series, I'm so happy for you. I wish I could be there with you. I wanna like every single book that I read, but unfortunately that just doesn't exactly happen, so yeah, I just wanted to put that out there. No shade if you like these series, obviously. I just thought this could be kind of a fun video to do. So let's just get into it. I'm a little bit excited. I feel like this will be kind of fun. So the first 2 series are by the same author, and I feel like this should come as no surprise. The first series that I want to talk about is something I've talked about many times. You guys know I don't like this series. But that is the Crescent City series by Sarah J. Maas. Now you may be wondering, why the hell do you still have this book if you are DNFing the series? I can't get rid of it. I annotated it, and my annotations are really stupid, so like nobody else can see these. So it just resides on my shelves now, I suppose. But Crescent City, out of all of the series on this list, is the one that baffles me the most. I just don't understand why it's so popular. I have read 2.5 books in this series. The first book was like fine. It wasn't my favorite thing. I had some ups and downs with it. The second book I really disliked, and then I read half of House of Flame and Shadow and I was like, okay, I'm like absolutely done with this. I can't do it anymore. I feel like Sarah J. Maas did a good job at the end of the second book, like pulling you in, making you interested enough to try out the third one. And then what she delivered was nowhere near what I wanted. It was just like so underwhelming. I was like, oh my god, like I truly cannot do this anymore. I don't know if Crescent City is gonna be the trilogy or if there's gonna be more, but I certainly will not be reading any more of them. I don't like the characters. I feel like there are way too many male POVs in this story, and I also don't care for literally any of the romances that are in the series. Well, actually, no. I take that back slightly because like the whole like romance situation that Rune had going on in the second book was like the only redeeming feature, but like Bryce and Hunt, could not care less about them. I feel like Hunt is like every other Sarah J. Maas love interest, but like worse somehow. So yeah, Crescent City is really not for me. Still baffled as to like why this series is so popular. I mean, like I get it, but like it's really just not for me. And then moving on to series number 2, which is another Sarah J. Maas series. I feel like, I read ACOTAR and I loved ACOTAR, and I still really enjoy ACOTAR. It's fun, but like it's not as good as it was when I first read it. You know what I'm saying? Like I've read other things, I found things that I think are better, but after I read ACOTAR, I was like, oh my god, obviously I'm gonna like love everything else that Sarah J. Maas has written. Turns out it's the only series of hers that I actually like, because the second series on this list is Throne of Glass. Throne of Glass, I see why people like it a little bit more. I feel like the fantastical elements in it are a little bit more engaging than they are in Crescent City. I do like the characters more in that series as well, but I made it up to Empire of Storms. I think I had 2 left. I think I read half of Tower of Dawn and I never read the rest of it, and then I really never read Kingdom of Ash. But with this series, I feel like I just lost interest. Also, like the fact that there's a book that like completely diverges from like the main plot line, that's like the penultimate book in the series. I'm like, I don't want to read that. Like maybe I should have just gone on and read Kingdom of Ash, but like I just don't care enough about the characters to do that. I think Throne of Glass is a fine series, but like it's really not the series for me, that's for sure. Moving on to my third series, switching away from like, the romantic-y Sarah J. Maas kind of vibe, I have the Kingkiller Chronicles by Patrick Rothfuss. I read The Name of the Wind a couple of years ago and I deeply disliked it. And the main reason I deeply disliked it, because there are a lot of redeeming qualities to it. The world building was good. I loved Patrick Rothfuss's prose, obviously. It's stunning. Nobody's like debating on that. But like the main thing is that I hate Kvothe with a burning passion. Like no character, well actually like a couple, but like for the most part no character has gotten on my nerves like Kvothe has, honestly. He is truly just like the most Mary Sue, conceited, I'm the best at everything kind of character. And I know like people have explanations for this. They're like, oh, he's the narrator, so like obviously he's gonna hype himself up. I'm like, I don't care. Like he still comes across that way. He still irritates me and I don't like him. And seeing as I am a very character-driven reader, that series is really not gonna work for me. Also, slightly less of like a concern, but like still a concern. I am incredibly unconvinced that Kingkiller is ever going to get finished. So I'm wiping my hands of it. I'm done. I am not going to be continuing on the series. Honestly, I have had a running list in my head for years now of like fictional characters that I would want to fist fight if given the chance. Kvothe is like towards the top of the list. I don't know if he's number one, but like he's up there. And that's all I'll say. Book series number 4 is the Powerless series by Lauren Roberts. I don't exactly know like what the series name is, / if that is the series name, I don't know. But I read Powerless back in November of 2023, I think, and I actually really enjoyed it. I thought it was fun, if a little bit derivative, but like still a pretty good time. But now I just really think that Powerless isn't exactly my vibe. I do still love some fantasy romance stories, obviously, but I do feel like there's a certain vibe of fantasy romance that I'm not exactly into anymore, and I feel like Powerless kind of falls into that list a little bit. I also did ask Mackenzie to spoil the last book for me because she was like, you know, freaking out about some things that happened. I was like, oh my god, like I kind of want to know like what she's freaking out about. So I did have her tell me what happened at the end of the 3rd book and I was like, oh my god, juicy. But like I'm not that mad that I didn't read it, I guess. I think for what it is, Powerless is fine, but I just kind of lost interest in the series, which is a lame reason, but like it's my reason. Next up I have a book series that I started very recently. The first book in the series was my April Patreon buddy read and I'm so sad that I didn't like it because it was like 600 pages. I read like 600 pages of this book and I found out I didn't like it. And that is The Will of the Many by James Islington. I truly do understand why people like this book, but like for me personally, it just didn't feel like it was doing anything new whatsoever. I feel like I've read books like this, with characters like this, with the same themes that this book is going for, and all that's good. But I just feel like I've seen books do it better. This book wasn't even exactly bad, I guess. It just like wasn't doing anything that like drew me into the series enough to want to read another 600-page book. I also just thought that Vis, as our main character, was so boring, big snooze fest. I'd like argue with the wall because like that's how I feel about it. He feels very much like Darrow from Red Rising, which, spoiler alert, Red Rising is on this list later. But I just don't like characters like that. Mary Sue characters who are also just like so boring. I'm like, why would I want to read from the point of view of this like boring ass dude? There were definitely some things that happened at the end of this book that were like really interesting, and I will give it that. Like the ending of this book had me gagged, I can't lie. But I just don't care enough about this, about the characters, about anything that was happening in this world to continue it, unfortunately. The next series on this list is the Davabad trilogy, the first book being The City of Brass. This is another book that like I definitely see why people like it, and I don't think it was bad. I feel like there were a lot of elements to this story that I enjoyed, but I feel like for the most part, I was just kind of not super interested in anything that happened. I like the setting and a lot of the mythological elements that were brought into this because you are dealing with a Jinn, I think he is one of the main characters. But overall, I was like, it was just a little bit boring for me. I know a lot of people really love this series, so like maybe don't take my word for it, but like for me, it just wasn't working. The next series is definitely a series that I could be convinced to continue. I feel like a lot of you guys might try to convince me to continue this series, but that is The Raven Cycle by Maggie Stiefvater. I read The Raven Boys and I liked it, but honestly, I feel like if I had read this series when I was a teenager, I'd be obsessed with it, but because I didn't, I don't feel that kind of connection that a lot of people do to it. I tried the second one, which is called The Dream Thieves maybe, and I was just so bored. I was so bored. I mean, like there's some interesting elements to it and I liked the characters a lot in the series, but the plot just like wasn't working for me. I also feel like it was honestly putting me into a reading slump. I kept telling myself like, no, just like read a little bit more, like finish this book, like it'll be fine. And then I realized I was stupid and I didn't do that. So I just don't personally have the nostalgia that a lot of people do for the series, but like trust me, I'm sure if I had read the series when I was in my teens, I would still be obsessed with it now. But like, I'm just not. Like, I get the vibes. I love the vibes. But like, the vibes aren't enough to propel me through the series. Next series I have on this list is the Red Rising series by Pierce Brown. Honestly, like, I feel like I don't like this series for a lot of the same reasons that I don't like The Will of the Many. Darrow got on my nerves. He's like the biggest Mary Sue character, but he's like so boring. I feel like every other character in the book is more interesting than the main character was. I think it has a lot of really similar like plot elements to The Will of the Many as well. So I feel like these two really go hand in hand. It's like the same reason why I don't really want to continue either of these. I know Red Rising is so beloved, so again, like, maybe don't take my word for it, but it's just not my kind of, you know, like sci-fi fantasy kind of story. Maybe it could be yours. I don't know. Do you like bland, boring main characters? Maybe you'll enjoy it. I'm sorry, but like Darrow, Vis, same vibe, same energy. I don't like them. Then the last series that I have on this list is really boring, honestly, mainly because of the reason that I'm not going to continue it, and it is again because I'm just not interested in it. And that is the Fallen God series by, oh, what is her name? It starts with God Killer. Hannah Kaner, I believe, is her name. This is another series that I definitely see why people like. I feel like it's got a lot of interesting elements with the gods, and there's a lot of interesting conversations about like what makes something a god and the belief that gods need to actually be real, I guess. So I liked a lot of that, but like just something about the characters and something about the plot I just like wasn't loving. I feel like it's got like a lot of elements that I should like. It kind of has a found family thing going on. I feel like they kind of go on a little bit of a quest of sorts. Honestly, it's been a minute since I read this book, but like I feel like that's what happens. It was just not my favorite. Again, I feel like so many people could really like the series. I see why people do like it, but like again, it's just not for me. So that is my list of the 9 popular series that I'm personally going to be DNFing. I would obviously love to know how you guys feel about this list. Do you agree with me on any of these? Do you think I'm crazy for not wanting to continue any of these? As I said, you guys have free reign. Try and change my mind. Let's have a conversation about it. I'd love to know your thoughts on any of these, or I would love to know some popular series that you are DNFing. Are they any of my favorite series? Please let me know. I promise I won't be offended. But I think that could be interesting, so let me know in the comments. Honestly, I kind of feel like I have a weight off my chest. I've spoken my truth. I've told you guys that I don't like the series, and now I can just move on from them in my life. I feel like a new woman, honestly. So yeah, with that being said, before we go, I would like to thank everybody over on my Patreon. If you're ever looking for more content from me, that's always linked down below. But with that, I'm gonna go. I hope you're all having an amazing Monday or whatever day it is that you're watching this video, and I will see you all in my next one. Bye!